Good evening, everyone, and welcome to NMP Talk Show. And this is the show that keeps you informed and engaged with topics about your mental health wellness. And as usual, I'm not alone today. I'm with my co-host, File. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Nevo. It's great to be back. I haven't been on the show for a week and it feels like it was forever. But yes, I am back. I'm here. We are live on Riverside FM. We're live on TikTok. We're live on Telegram. And are we live on Twitter?
No, we're not live on Twitter, but you coming back, you brought the gremlins. So my system just showed me flames today.
It is okay. But the nice thing is that we are having a show tonight.
That's good. Yeah,
Tell
we
us, what
definitely.
will we be talking about tonight?
All right. So this evening we have invited a life coach who's going to help us find ways to cope with anxiety and stress that we face in our lives. And what I actually found out before we introduce her,
Mhm.
I did some little bit of a research and I found something very interesting about um, depression. Maybe
Mhm.
you can share something and then I'll share later, Figile, after you.
Okay, you know what I found out
Yeah,
from Forbes Health Worldwide?
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
very interesting fact. I'm gonna quote it. It
yeah.
said, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the number of anxiety and depressive disorders grew. Depressive symptoms grew from the base of about 193 million people worldwide to 246 million, which is about 28%. And anxiety disorders, they grew from 298 million people affected to 374 million, which is about 25% increase. Very interesting fact.
That's
What did you
that's
find
very
out, Noel? Mm,
that's very interesting. I mean, I'm looking at those numbers. They're very high. When you're not researching on this subject and you just isolated, on your own, there, you don't
mm,
know how much people are suffering from this pandemic. I think I'm rightfully
exactly.
so can call it a pandemic because it's
It
everywhere else.
is. It is.
And then there's also a research from Wits University. It says there a third of South African population and 74% of poor South Africans live in rural areas, right? That we
Mhm.
know. But
Yeah.
while it is believed that individuals in more impoverished rural areas are more susceptible to experiencing mental illness, recent reports reveal that young adults in urban areas seem to experience a higher level of depression when compared to their rural counterparts. And
Hmm.
nevertheless, the Northern Cape showed the highest rates of both probable depression and anxiety, and this province has a largely rural area. So you can see that this is widespread. I mean,
It
we're not
is.
quoting even America on its own, it's
Mhm.
worldwide. I saw the stats from America and they were also shocking as well. So today we had invited somebody who's going to help us, deal with anxiety and stresses of life. And this is now we inviting to the stage Sophie James. Sophie, welcome to our show. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, everyone. Oh my God. First of all, it's such a pleasure being here. I am so grateful. I really appreciate you guys inviting me in. Um, I would like to introduce myself. I am
Please.
Sophie James, or Coach Sophie James on social media.
Yeah.
I am a life coach as well as an NLP practitioner. What does NLP mean? Is neuro linguistic programming. We can go into more detail about it later, but before I'm a coach and all of these things, I'm also a wife. I'm a mom, and I have small children. They're 5 year old and 7 year old, so very energetic. They require a lot of my attention, as well as their dad attention. I also, I do have a 9 to 5 that I work mostly, and I also
Mhm.
do my coaching. So imagine trying to balance pretty much overall does require a whole lot of things, right? And
Yeah.
one of the main things that surface is anxiety and stress. If you are a mom, if you're someone who work, even not just a mom, right? If you're a human who have to balance a whole bunch of things at once, you will know that one of the main thing that comes up would be the anxiety and then the stress. And then, that's a ripple effect to deeper, bigger issues. So, yes, hello. I am happy to be here, and I'm ready to talk about all about anxiety and stress.
We are
Yes,
so excited
please.
as well. We are so excited to have you over. Sophie, you spoke about being a mother, and I think you're the best person to talk to because you're a life coach and you're a mother and you're working 9 to 5.
Oh,
You're getting a lot of stress. I mean, if it's not at home, it's at work, and it's just everywhere else. When commuting between your home and your work, you have traffic to contend with, that you have to carry straight to your home, and this is just too much on your plate, isn't it?
it is a lot. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not gonna make it sound like it is easy to do, but it is possible. You
Yeah,
know, with a good enough structure, anything is possible.
that is so true. Now
Yeah,
tell us,
yeah.
Sophie,
Yeah.
we've highlighted some of the things that are causing stress in our lives. But from your profession and the experience that when dealing with other people, that come to you as a life coach, what seems to be the common cause for stress and anxiety?
Mhm.
Oh wow. Life, first of all, okay, I'm gonna say just going through life is one of the common cause, right? Then beside life is the outside pressure that people put on most of us, especially mothers.
Mhm.
The trying to be the okay, the pressure we also put on ourselves, okay.
Mhm.
Not being able to have that work life balance,
Mm,
all that can cause a lot of stress and anxiety. um,
Mhm.
Thinking about the future too much and not having a plan. It's
mm,
good to think about the future. It's good, but it's better to have a plan. And if you don't, you put yourself in an anxious state. That's what brings that anxiety instead of
Mhm.
living in that present moment. I mean, these are some basic, what it could be financial reasons, right?
Mhm.
Relationship reason, um, health. All of these things can cause a lot of stress and anxieties.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I
And I see a lot of it, especially when I coach. I mostly coach mom,
mm.
and when it comes to mom, it's all of it is part of what caused the anxiety and the stress in their life.
Mhm. So will you say, Sophie, the coping mechanism will only work for the mothers because you're only coaching mothers, or you mostly coach mothers, or the way to manage stress can help out everybody who goes through stress and anxiety in their lives?
Oh, it can help anybody. I
Okay.
just personally, decided to niche down to work with mothers
Okay.
mostly because these are the women I connect with the most.
Oh.
These are the people who comes to me more than men.
Okay.
I use feelings and emotion mostly, in order to coach. So I
Mhm.
feel like I cater more and I relate, and my coaching style resonate more with mothers. But anyone can use these techniques.
Yes.
Anyone can use whatever we're going to talk about today.
Mhm.
It's not just, oh, just for women. No, anyone can use it. And I'm always a believer of take what you need, take what you can, and whatever
Mhm.
that doesn't serve you, it's fine. Let it go. But just
Mhm.
take on what you need from everything we'll be talking about today.
Mhm.
Wow.
Fantastic.
So you're saying, true, mostly that come to you are moms, but what do you think is the problem that men don't come out?
When it,
I'm a man.
I
I'm a
probably
man.
can use
I
personal
probably
example.
I probably should be answering that question, but I think we need a professional to
But we
really.
need an expert in the field, eh?
You know what? For some reason I don't like to call myself an expert. I am a
Okay.
learner as much as as all of us, I will give the information that I have, and I also take on from other people.
Okay.
But one reason why I would say men don't come out as much, but I'm realizing there is a change now. I'm
Mm,
Mhm.
noticing there's a lot more coaches who are helping men specifically, you know, and
Mhm.
men have so much, I won't say a lot of pressure as well. They have to be strong. They have to always be able to take care of whatever happened, right? And in
Mhm.
order for them to do that, they can show emotion. Showing emotion equal weakness.
Mhm.
Men cannot show that weakness. So it's very difficult for a man to come out and say, "Oh, I have all of this," unless they know someone who can actually guide them, someone they actually trust, someone they can be vulnerable with. These are just some example. Being married for 9 years, my husband is a very, very strong
congratulations.
man. Thank you. It'll be 10 years next year, so whew, right.
Yeah.
So they have to be strong, and they have to hold the family together, and
Mhm.
that does not leave space for them to be vulnerable all the time.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
But
Yeah.
once they have that support system, they also need someone they trust. We notice that they start to come out a little bit. Hey, these are things that stresses me out in my life. My
Mhm.
husband will put his stress out on the gym.
Mhm.
He have his
Mhm.
own coping mechanism. He will go and lift weight. And once I notice that he's lifting really heavy, I'm like, "Ooh, he's probably stressed." "Ooh,
Mhm.
work got him today." So me also as a wife, I
no,
try to
don't
recognize.
don't think that. I mean, when he's lifting heavy, you must like, oh, he's gonna be my hunk.
I mean, that's really nice too, but so yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Figile, do you wanna say something quickly?
I wanted to ask Sophie that what are some common misconceptions about anxiety and stress, and how can one better understand these conditions?
I think, well, first of all, we all need to understand ourselves first. We need
Mm-hmm.
to understand how thing triggers us, right? Misconception about stress could probably be, well, you're doing too much. You know what? Yeah, you're probably doing too much. But again, whatever you're doing, is it fulfilling enough for you? Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if it's not fulfilling, you will feel the stress.
Mm,
But then you're also going to feel like you're doing so much, but nothing is moving. When it comes again, stress and anxiety, and we'll probably anxiety first is just
Yeah.
living in the future, right? This
Mm-hmm.
little thing right here is stressing me out because I am not living in the present moment. I
Mm-hmm.
want that result right now, but I'm not patient enough to go through the process, right? I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any kind of a way to cope um with the stress of life.
Yeah.
And when it comes, I hope I'm answering your question.
You are answering my question, but there's a question after that. Yes, you can continue.
Oh no, that's probably what I had to say right now. I
Yeah,
don't want to
because
go too
you
much.
mentioned something about triggers. So, how can one identify the triggers for our stress and anxieties? And is there anything that can be done to avoid or manage these triggers?
Well, triggers, where does it start? Where does it come from? Right? How well
Mhm.
do you know yourself? It depends of your stage of life and the amount of struggles you've been through. Triggers
Mhm.
are really hard to identify if
Mhm.
you did not take the time to look deeper inside of you.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
If you haven't taken the time to analyze your own emotion, your own feeling, and your own action, you will not be able to figure it out. Oh, these are the triggers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So the
yeah.
first thing I will probably tell someone, before you can identify the triggers, I
Mhm.
want you to identify your own emotions,
Yeah.
right? Did someone
Mhm.
said something? Wow.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm feeling uneasy about whatever that person said. I'm feeling triggered. That's
Mhm.
the name most people use. I'm feeling triggered. I'm feeling
Mhm.
angry. I'm
Mhm.
feeling what is another word? Uh I can't think of another word, but again, anger usually is one of the emotions, or sad, or emotional,
Mhm.
when you feel triggered about something. Now, did you take the time to figure it out? Am I getting triggered because of what that person said, or
Mhm.
the way how the person said, or is it the message? Now, why am I triggered about that message or the way? Could it have
Mhm.
anything to do with the way how you were treated in the past, right?
Yeah.
So these
Yeah.
are like long-term self-work that need to be done in order for you to actually identify the triggers itself.
Mhm.
But just the simplest thing I can tell you is, if something change your emotional state, that's a trigger.
Okay.
you
Okay.
know
Yeah.
whatever that is, could be the environment, could be
Mhm.
someone's breathing down your neck. You're not sure, but
Yeah.
identify that this action is changing my emotional state. Then
Mhm.
based on that, you can go down that, what I call that rabbit hole of figuring out why this
Okay.
triggered me.
Okay.
Hmm,
Okay.
that's very amazing. I,
Yeah.
I do have a question as well. Today we're
Yeah.
bombarding you with questions.
You know?
I will try my best to answer to the best of my abilities.
But before I ask the question, we have audience on Telegram that have connected, and we stream into Telegram, we stream into Riverside, and we also stream into LinkedIn. I didn't even mention that one.
Oh,
So
that's wonderful.
yeah, those that are on Telegram, if you have any question or comment, please raise your hand, and then we will able to unmute you, and then you can engage with our guest. Our guest
Oh,
name is Sophie, and you said you from Washington,
Pennsylvania.
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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she's from
About 2 hours from Washington, an hour from Maryland.
yeah.
So,
You literally there, you know.
yes.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my question then. We spoke about triggers that we might have. We spoke about things that would add to our stresses and our anxieties. Like for instance, if you don't have a plan, that makes you anxious, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes.
How can then one create a daily routine that can help them manage their stress and their anxiety?
Mhm.
Daily routine. So, again, do you know you're stressed? You get stressed easily. If you're someone who gets stressed easily,
Yeah.
what do you
Mhm.
do when you get stressed, or when you feel the stress or the anxiety, right? Daily routine, I believe my day started the night before. you know the night before I even go to bed, I give myself a quick to-do list, even mental to-do list. I am a big believer of writing pen and paper. There is power into writing your thoughts, writing your emotion, and I'm a big believer of that. But I give myself a mental to-do list first. What am I expecting for tomorrow? It is probably 9 p.m. or right before your bedtime. Give at least 30 minutes before bed, or an hour.
Mhm.
Take the time and sit with yourself. Identify, I have a 9 to 5, I have a couple of meetings, I have dinner with this person, or I have to make dinner, right? So
Mhm.
give yourself that mental note. If you need to put on a paper, I will 100%, yeah, put down a pen and paper, write it down. I will encourage you to write them down. Then, at least there you have an idea on how your day is going. Now,
Mhm.
when you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing you do? Most people wake up and start scrolling on social media.
Yeah.
And if you haven't listened to a lot of self-talk guru out there, it's a no-no, right? You want to set yourself up for success first thing in the morning. And how you do that? Me personally, I will sit with myself and I will sit with God. I will pray, I will meditate, and I will journal. I recommend that to most of my clients. Hey, what's the first thing you do in the morning? Meditate, pray, journal, or meditate, journal, whatever works for you. But that will bring a sense of calmness into you. Your mind, you will wake up in a very blissful way. Now, not everybody have the feeling to wake up first thing in the morning and meditate and journal. No, nobody have that feeling. But the fact that the night before, you told yourself, I'm gonna wake up in the morning, meditate and pray. You already set. Your brain is ready and expecting you to do these things. You just gotta push yourself, push your brain, and do the thing that you told yourself you want to do. Um, that's one of the main thing I will recommend. That morning routine is mindfulness. Set yourself up for success in a calmful way. Then after that, throughout the day, you never know, right? Something can happen. Like we were talking about triggers earlier.
Mm.
Give yourself a step. When I get triggered, what do I do? If you notice that you get triggered a lot, you get anxious a lot, what do I do at that moment? Deep breath. I love to do breath work. When you are in the middle of work, in the middle of a meeting, you're starting to feel that anxiety rise up. Most of us know when you start to feel the anxiety. It's either a bubble in your stomach, or you get a little hot, or you start to shake, right? Whatever, once you start to feel these things, so that's how, again, we are going back to identifying the switch of emotion, the switch of your feeling, your comfort zone. Are you comfortable where you are, or is there something that's happening? Once you
Mm.
notice that, wherever you are, you could be in a public space. Deep breath. 3 second in, hold. 3 second out. And in your head, you breathe in the good, and you breathe out the anxiety. Do that 3 to 4 times. As easy as, one small little step you can use to overcome your anxiety at that moment. And if you have time or the space or the area, I will ask you to go sit somewhere, close your eyes, and do the same thing. Deep breath, meditate. Most people listen to music or calming music, or I will also affirmation, right? Guided meditation for anxiety. And these words, by listening to it, it brings you back into the moment. It calms you down. Is
Wow.
that helpful?
It
Very
is
helpful.
actually, because now I'm thinking some people, they use journaling or other expressive writing technique,
Yes.
to manage their anxiety and stress. So is there a specific way of doing it effectively, or you just have to write down your to-do list, or things that you need to do the next day, or
Mhm.
should I just write down my emotions for me to be able to manage my anxiety? And does that work?
I will say yes, it worked. Based
Hmm.
speaking out of experience, and I've suffered with anxiety. I've suffered with clinical depression. And I have stress throughout my day, right?
Okay.
And I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, I'm perfect," but obviously, I've learned a whole lot of techniques to help me
Hmm.
get up in the morning and keep pushing through. Because me laying in bed all day is not gonna help, right?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
my kid needs me, my husband needs me, I
Hmm.
needs me. So
Hmm.
what do I need to do to get out of that funk? So journaling, I will say it works if you believe it, right? It
Okay.
works if you implement it. It
Okay.
works if you actually give it a try. Most people think they need to have a specific way to journal, a specific way to do your to-do list. I
Mhm.
always say start. Start with this is what I have to do tomorrow,
Mhm.
your to do list. Then,
Mhm.
if you want to go a step further, I want you to identify what is most important for you. Because in case you
Okay.
don't get everything done, what are the first two or three things that if you get it done, you will be satisfied?
Okay. Okay.
We put so much pressure on ourselves to get everything done.
Mhm.
There's only 24 hours in a day. You might be extremely tired today. Your emotion, your hormone is probably acting up, right? You're probably
Mhm.
not aligned with your goals today. It's
Mhm.
okay. Give
Mhm.
yourself from the step 1 to 10 what is most important. At least if I get this one or two, three things done, I will be happy with myself, right? That's
That's
future to do this. The
mhm.
next thing, for example, when it comes to journaling, I will say start with this is how I'm feeling right now.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then the next thing is this is how I want to feel. So
Okay.
these two questions in your head, you can literally write, I don't know, a whole book, maybe,
Yes.
depending on how your emotion and your state of mind. But by
Mhm.
understanding where you are and giving yourself where you want to go, it brings you more into again to the present moment. It helps
Mhm.
you acknowledge where you are, your emotion, your feelings, your thought, and then you give yourself what you want to feel instead, or how you want to feel instead. Then that will bring you out of that negative state into a more positive state of mind.
Okay.
And guess
Yeah.
what? The more you put yourself in a positive state of mind, you vibrate in a positive energy and positive frequency. And what happens when you're in a positive frequency? You always attract goodness into your life. Again, there's
Yeah.
that ripple effect
Yeah.
that you want to keep
Absolutely.
in
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Sophie,
Yeah.
you mentioned journaling, what you have to do on the day. You know, either you write it down a day before or in the morning. Um, so I'm thinking sometimes we need to also be realistic of what we write down
Mhm.
for to-do list. You know,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
that also can give you anxiety and stress. Like
Mhm.
if I have to do 10 things, 10 things on a day,
Mhm.
sometimes it's not practical that I can achieve all the 10.
All 10.
And if I found that I have only accomplished one or two, and then I look at my list, I'm left with eight.
Neat.
Won't that give me anxiety and stress?
Mhm.
It
So,
will.
I'm thinking we have to be, I don't know if it's a right
Realistic.
word for this, but clever in writing down our to-do list. Don't write a
Yeah.
long list, because if you don't achieve it, if you're not even 50%, halfway through the list, then you're going
Mhm.
to be depressed, then you have anxiety. So
Mhm.
write three things at least, for a start, and see if you can achieve them. And
Mhm.
you also have your, like, your surplus list on the side there. If you have finished the three, you just choose from that basket, you just throw it in, and then you see
Mhm.
you still have time for it. I think
Yep.
that way, I have never used journaling, for any purpose. My wife always says to me, now you have to write things down because you
Mhm.
forgetful. Now you have to do this. And I try, by all means. And wherever she is, I'm hoping she's listening. Yeah,
I'm checking as to where is she.
I'm keeping the list there, but then she's in the other room so she can hear when I'm talking. I'll hear nodding on the
Yeah.
but, but it's something that we also need to be educated with,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
not just
Mhm.
anything else will come into that list that you want to write down.
That's
and
true.
and that list can also be a trigger for your stress, for your
Mhm.
anxiety. But thank you for sharing those points on how we can do this.
Absolutely.
Now, if we move away from journaling, writing down all what you can do and all that, There's also nutrition and healthy diet that comes into the picture. What role do they work or do they take place in managing stress and anxiety?
Whew. Well, nutrition and movement is again, it's one of the main things that a lot of us neglect when
Mm,
we're busy, right?
mm,
It's part of prioritizing your self-care. It's part of, self it's a whole I will put food and movement into self-care, because the more you take care of your inside, you'll feel it more on the outside. What you eat, right, can identify your mood, can identify your energy level, right? What you eat can also identify the way how you view things, right? Because it does affect your mind.
mm,
If you don't move or go to the gym, go for a walk, your body gets stiff. The more you won't be able to do as much movement. Again, low energy. I made sure to go to the gym earlier today. Not earlier, but around 8, because I had my son and we had to put him in the child care area.
Mhm.
So, I prioritized that this morning because I wanted to feel energized for you guys. I didn't want to, be in that funky mood because I ate something bad last night and now I'm like very sluggish. So I had to push myself. So again, it's it's important. It's important because it will determine your mood. Your mood will determine your action, and your action will determine are you moving toward your goals, whatever they are, your life goal. Yeah, we should not. We should prioritize our
Mhm.
food intake, our movement, right? Health and
Mhm.
wellness, well-being, very important. Everything from the inside will reflect on the outside. Acne, dry skin, even eczema. My son has eczema. So one thing
Mhm.
that we're starting doing, we cutting out a lot of his sugar because I'm realizing that it does make the eczema flare up.
Okay.
So food is, oh gosh, nutrition. I feel like I can talk about it all day long, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I get your point. I really do.
Mhm.
So
You
we have on the uh, on a channel there, we have ladies that are in corporate, you know, and not just only corporate. They that are also working. They're working hard. To bring food into their homes, and that also can be stressful. Now, if we're talking to ladies that are in the corporate world,
Mhm.
and let's say you have a beautiful position there, you know, and those positions come with a price.
let's just be frank now. You've
Yeah.
got a very challenging position there. It's a beautiful title, but challenging and stressful.
Yeah. I guess that's why you get a lot of money. You can afford your medical aid. Eh? So what boundaries can you put in place, to manage your time
Mhm.
effectively to reduce stress and anxiety?
Wow. This is great. You brought it up because I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm working on a course right now, right? To
Yeah.
help working mom have that work-life balance
Mm,
without the stress and the burnout and the anxiety at the end of the day. And when
Mhm.
it comes to work-life balance, you have to have boundaries. And what are some of those boundaries? Is not bringing work from home or home problem at work. Sometimes it's inevitable, depending on which position you are at,
Mhm.
the amount of
Mhm.
responsibilities you have at your job. But you can always tell your people not to call you once you leave work. When I'm out of work by 5 or 6 o'clock, do not call me. You can
Mhm.
email me, right? You still want to give them a certain amount of access to you, but
mm,
do
Mhm.
not call unless it's a dire,
Situation.
situation that can't
Mhm.
wait till morning or that can't wait for 30 to 40 minutes. Because once you call my phone, somebody better be dying. And these are things that you have to set in place early on. Early on, because once you allow your work from the beginning to call you at random time, knowing that you're at home, they are going to keep doing that.
Mm.
Now, if you put yourself, let's say job interview, right? And then you tell them, oh, I'm available all the time because you want that position, you want the money that comes with it, then these are some responsibilities, right?
Mm.
And by telling your employer that, hey, you can call me at any time, that's mean you're opening up that door for them to call you at random time of the day. So know your priorities first. What are your priorities? Is your job your priorities, and then your family, or your family first? Now, if your job is a priority, now try to work with your family so that they understand, hey, work is important right now. I may be taking calls in the middle of dinner. So these are like conversation that you need to have with your spouse or your children if they're at the age of understanding that these are the boundaries that we need to set now. But I always put that boundary with my job, because I'm like, I don't take my laptop at home. I mean, thank goodness I don't have, that much responsibilities, or where they need to call me because somebody's dying, and I'm grateful for that. But I don't know what your job is. I don't know what your position. You may have to do so, but it can't be all the time, right? You can have it on Tuesdays and Wednesday, or Tuesdays and Thursday. I can be on call. You can give me a call during this time, or email me, and I will answer you back as soon as possible.
Yeah.
That's the communication we need to have with work. Once you know your priorities, is it work, is it your family, then you know how to adjust, and you know what kind of conversation to have with the right people. And that's also important. So boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Very important for that work life balance.
Yeah, I don't know, Figile, if you wanted to say something, but before I forget, I
Yeah.
think it is it's our fault, entirely our
Most
fault
of the time.
as individual, in that we, at the word go, we're opening up that gate or that door to our employer. Because when we're looking for that job, we possibly stranded, and we want to
Yeah.
get that position, and we say, I work good under pressure. You can call me any time of day. I'll be there
I'm
for you.
available.
Company. Yeah. I'll be available.
Yeah.
So already I've opened up that door, but now I got
Mhm.
the position, and I'm saying to my boss, look,
I
don't call
can't
me
do
after.
this.
Mhm.
Yep.
So
Then
yeah,
they
you
they
training.
refer you back to what you've said in your
Exactly.
interview, eh?
So that is why
Exactly.
we hired you, because you are
You were
available to me.
available. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And it's
and
difficult,
you
when you're a mom. You want to have all the roles. Nowadays, moms, we have all of these different hats, and we
mm,
feel the pressure to do it all.
mm,
Hmm.
And that's where that comes from. Back in the days, right? Again, let me go back in the days. I'm not saying not our generation. The men were the one, who will go to work, and the wives are the one who are taking care of the household.
Hmm.
Now, both men and women are in the work field now, and we are all striving for that high position, right? So
Hmm.
now, as women, we are putting that pressure on us. We have to be the breadwinner, we have to be the caregiver, we have to be homemakers, we
Hmm.
have to. And that pressure that we put on ourselves is what push us to get to have certain positions, certain responsibilities.
mm,
But then that's when you got to figure out, what are my priorities? Who is my support system? Because we
mm,
need that when you are a working mom, or a woman in the high level position. You have to
Hmm.
have a support system. Is it your spouse, right? If you don't have a spouse, is it your family member, your friend, daycare, right? Can you rely on daycare? um
Hmm.
there's so many things we got to figure it out. What is our support system, so we can perform at our highest performance peak in this specific position we are choosing to be into. It's
Mm-hmm.
possible, it is possible. But once you have all your ducks in places and you know what's more important, what need to come first and second and third,
Mm.
it's easier to maneuver everything, as to the best of your ability.
Yeah. You mentioned quite a few things that kept me thinking. You said you're a mom, you're a wife, you're you work,
Yeah.
you've got a 9 to 5, you're a coach. So if I'm that person who wears so many hats, how do I balance these responsibilities? I've got a responsibility at work. I've got obligations at work. I need to care for myself. At the same time, I need to manage my stress levels. How do I balance all this? Or how do
Oh, well.
you do it so that we can actually
Learn
copy
from
from
you.
you and use it in our daily lives?
Well, one thing that I do, I give myself grace and compassion a lot, because there are moments that are tougher and difficult than others. So I give
Mhm.
myself that grace, that understanding that, hey, today you didn't do it all. It's okay. We'll try again tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Um, the next thing that I like to do, I like to stay organized and prioritize what's most important. That's part of. I just have a quick little, thing put together that I'll be looking into.
Mhm.
Prioritizing is important. Delegating tasks, it's important. At my
Mhm.
job, if I can't do something, I try to find out who's the best person to do that.
Mm.
Okay.
And yes, we want to be the one who do it all. We want to be the one, but is it possible? Are you
Mhm.
going to be able to give um the result that's needed by taking on
Mhm.
all of these things? So that's a small little mind shift that you can take and make to kind of like take away that control,
Mhm.
with doing everything. So delegate the tasks that you need, manage your time accordingly, and stay
Mhm.
organized. Know that I have 30 minutes and this is the amount of time, the amount of work I can do. Or I have 3 to 5 hours, time block. Use
Mhm.
Google Calendar. Time block everything. Me, I have my Google, my Calendly, my and then I also have my Google Calendar that's connected. You
Mm.
cannot
Mhm.
make an appointment with me if I'm not available that day. And if I have to work on something specific, I block that out on my calendar so there's no distraction and nothing comes through. I do put
Mhm.
my phone in silence, um to avoid as much distraction as possible. I think
Yeah.
that work with your work and home or business or whatever. I put
Mhm.
family time in my calendar on Saturdays from this time to this time. And that's a reoccurring thing, right? So it keep
Mhm.
going to every
Mhm.
week. If we haven't, if, once my calendar goes family time, it's 3 p.m., and I realize that I wasted my whole entire day in bed, I literally get up or whatever. I get up and do something with this kid. All right, let's go outside. Let's just take some fresh air.
Mhm.
Um, Make the most of your morning, right? This kind of thing will help you balance your work life and your regular life and your business and everything. How? Me, I wake up at least an hour to an hour and a half before my kid. My son, sometimes he wake up super early. I'm like, this is my me time. Can you go back to sleep? It's 5 a.m. Why are you up?
Yeah.
And that morning, that's what I used to do my meditation, my journaling, take a shower with peace. Not a
Mhm.
kid, mommy, can I have that? So I
Yeah.
use that time accordingly. Um,
Mhm.
I have ways to manage your stress. I go to the gym when I feel a little stressed and anxious. I meditate or I go for a quick walk outside. Now,
Mhm.
somebody, you may not have a gym or you may not have an area safe for you to walk. What do? Literally around your house, you can just do jumping jacks in your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just want to move your body. I put
Mhm.
videos on YouTube with my kid for yoga, and we make that a fun family time. It could be 7 p.m., 8 p.m. We try to do it together so it's fun and it doesn't feel like, oh, I need to do that. So, um,
Yeah.
also try to cultivate mindfulness. Like I said earlier, meditate. You can do it in the
Mhm.
morning, you can do it at night. Practice
Mhm.
gratitude, right? Look every area of your life that you're grateful about. We tend to neglect the things that we already have. We tend to, not put our focus on being grateful with what we already have because we want to achieve so much.
So
And
much.
that's what keeps us going and moving and running. And the more we are
Mm.
doing that, we are also anxious about getting that result, that big result. And we are not appreciating the moment. We are not
Yeah.
living in the moment, right?
Yeah.
Then you
Yeah.
want to set goals, personal goal, professional goals. Yes, you want to achieve big, but what are the small steps in between that we want to do? And that's one way you got to work backward. You work backward. A lot of people do the 10 years, 5 years goal, right? Well, 10
Mhm.
years is
Mhm.
way too much. I would say 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, and then 6 months, and then 3 months, right?
Mhm.
You break
Mhm.
them down into small itty bitty goals.
Yeah.
And I think everything combined definitely can help you have that work life balance. But I
Mhm.
think the most important is that support, and that accountability,
Yeah.
right? Who
Yeah.
is that person? Because you have that devil here and then that angel right here. And this is
Mhm.
all us. We
Mhm.
have so many negative thoughts. We have so many self doubts. Who is in your corner? Who understand the goals that you want to achieve and who is here to keep you pushing and going? Who is
Mhm.
that one person who's okay, you messed up, that's fine. How do we what do we do today?
Fix it.
How do we
Mhm.
get back up? Take a
Mhm.
break, but just don't lay there too long. So I'm gonna leave you guys here
You
because
know
with
you
that.
touched on something very crucial there. Now I'm thinking, I'm a mother to young adults and teenagers. How can I support them if they're struggling with work, school, like what's this, their academics,
Mhm.
my other daughter, my daughter is doing matric, and I know that she's anxious, she's stressful. How can I support her? I know I can never take away the anxiety or the stress,
Yes.
but how can I be there for her?
I feel
before
like just
before
as
you,
a parent,
before you
just give her
answer
a
that,
hug.
before you answer
Huh?
that, Sophie, before you answer that,
Yes.
really, can I give
Yes,
you an answer to that question?
please do know.
Are you sure you want an answer to that question?
No, I don't.
Okay, no, you don't.
Not from
Okay.
you.
I was about to say, oh well, if she's stressing about matric, take her out. Let her sit at home.
Right.
Actually, that is her solution at this moment.
But it's not a solution. I'm just pulling
But
your leg.
that's not a solution.
Sophie, please tell us. Oh yeah, before
Yeah.
you tell us, we do have a nurse slash a lawyer in our midst there. Sis Tandy,
Mhm.
if you want to comment, please raise your hand, and then you can share your experience there in terms
Mhm.
of the academic, because I know you've went through the lawyer
All the
and
academics, yes.
all the academics. There were stresses there, and how you manage your time. So we'll be happy to hear from your side there. So Sophie,
Mhm.
Yes.
yes, tell us.
I mean, unfortunately, I don't have the experience with teenagers, right? I
Yeah.
still have small little children, and
Mhm.
I can believe how crazy math for a second grader or first grader is. Okay, even as a mom, I'm like, wait, hold on, let me read this again. But no.
I actually stopped doing that because every time I open a book, it's like, okay, you know what? I didn't even
And
do this adversity. So I think your teacher taught you well. You can
Right.
continue. I'll sit here. I'll just be. I'll support you sitting here.
moral
I won't go
support.
to bed
Right.
until you figure it
I
out
think
because I can't help you.
Yeah.
thinking back, right, as a teenager, because we had it probably was probably less than 15 years ago. you know, as a teenager myself, who went through high school in America, not speaking any English, and had to figure it out pretty much my way through high school. I think as a parent, just being there, giving them hugs as much as you can. Hey, can I give you a hug? I may not help
Mhm,
you, but let me give you a hug.
mhm,
Be that space where they can come and talk to you. I'm stressed. Oh, really? What are you stressed about? Let them talk about it. Doesn't
mhm,
matter. Sometimes you don't even want to comment. You say, "Wow, that must be hard." Sometimes we just want to be heard. We just want to be
mhm,
heard. We already have the answer that we need most of the time
mhm,
by just
mhm,
talking it out to someone who we feel safe around. Just bring
mhm,
the answer out of us.
mhm,
You can provide tutors. Hey, I don't know if you're struggling in a way. Sometimes it's just the anxiety of not doing well, even though they're
mhm,
a straight A student, because they
mhm,
are perfectionists. They
Mhm.
want to make sure that every time I get the good grade. What if I don't get
mhm,
this grade? What if I
mhm,
fail? Even
mhm,
if you do, guess what? This is something you will learn from it.
Mm.
You may not have the grade that you need right now, but what have you learned? Have you practiced? Have you done
mhm,
whatever's necessary for you to get that whatever grade you're looking for? And learn to
mhm,
take a deep breath. In front of the exam, we are very anxious, and then
mhm,
we end up not putting the right answer. So
mhm,
learning breath work at that moment, just before she even start, her test. Oh, taking that deep breath,
mhm,
and then
mhm,
keep reminding. She needs to remind herself that I got this, I can do it,
mhm,
I got this.
mhm,
Positive self-talk. So
Yeah.
by you teaching the child that they have all the answer they need, they just have to learn to take a deep breath and relax. Yes,
mhm,
there may be pressure, right? The world is pressuring you to get that
mhm,
thing, whatever it is. They probably have a specific goal, right? Whether it's a
mhm,
scholarship they want to go to that specific college, or
Mm.
mhm,
that specific teacher, whatever it is.
mhm,
Because of that pressure, because we are very, like, again, like I said earlier, perfectionists. We want to get things done. We put all that pressure on us. So
yeah.
you, by having compassion for your child, they will
ufuna
have
ndithetha
more compassion for themselves.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry.
ufuna ndithetha
Sister Andy.
hayi Neo.
Yes. Can you
Yes,
all hear
Neo.
her?
Yes, we can hear her. Hi,
Sister
Sister
Andy,
Tandy.
welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you, Neo. Thank you, Fikile. Hi, Sophie. Thanks for the talk
Hello.
today. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, stress, anxiety is the name of the game today globally. I just needed to add on that. Um, to be able to manage that process, there's another important thing: to understand human nature, to understand people you are dealing with,
Mhm,
to understand the degree of the hurt of people they've went through.
Mm.
You know, they say hurt people hurt people. So
mhm,
most of the time, people who are hurt will hurt individuals. So if you are dealing with a person like that, don't compete with that person because she's going to overpower you, or she's going to
mhm,
overpower you. But
mhm,
understand her position, understand his position, where she's coming from. Then the personal stress level, your personal stress level, my personal stress level will be able to be managed. Otherwise you'll be raising the stress levels.
Mm.
which is not recommended to us. I don't know whether I'm understood. To
Very well.
understand
I
to
actually hear
understand
what
individuals
Mrs.
where
Tandy
they
is
are coming.
saying. I'm thinking in the workplace mostly, that's where this works, because in the workplace we all have our stresses, we all have our anxieties, but understanding where that next person is coming from will help you manage the situation. So I got you right there, Sis Tandy.
One thing that I would like to add to this, if I may,
Yes.
um, it's easier to manage yourself than manage others,
Other
right?
people. Yes.
Once you understand, like we talked about triggers earlier, once you
Mm-hmm.
understand how to regulate yourself, your own emotion, your own feeling, doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what people do to you or what people say or how that other person is acting,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not about me, it's
Yeah.
more about you.
Yeah.
So I'll let you
Mm-hmm.
deal with your thing, and I won't let that thing affect me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's like water. What was it called? Water in a camel back. It just slides right off. No, once you know how to regulate yourself, it's much easier to deal with the outside
Yes.
stressors.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, you can never understand other, not never, but you cannot always understand where that other person
Others
is coming
coming
from.
from.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
one trick that I've learned, if someone is a very burden, right, to your job space, that person is always the one who getting to fight with everybody. We all have that one person in the
Oh
office.
yeah.
That one with a big mouth, that one who doesn't know how to respect others.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that person as a 5-year old or as a 3-year old throwing tantrum who doesn't really know how to deal with their own emotion. You will have pity for them. And instead of you getting mad, you can get mad to a 5-year old, right? Or a 3-year old. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine that person as, I feel sorry for you. You don't have to tell them that, right? Deep down inside you, just look at them, smile, and move on. Sometimes it's not necessary to put yourself to that level because you're
Mm-hmm.
already here. You're high enlightenment, you're high energy. Don't let
Mm-hmm.
nobody bring you back down.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just wanted to add that real quick.
Thank you.
Wow, that was very insightful. We really enjoyed um the conversation that we just had about this. It makes things lighter in that we get insightful on this topic on how you can view stress and anxiety and how you can manage it. I think the problem here is not accepting that you are going through the process. Um, the moment you start accepting it, the better, because now you'll know what to do. And also identifying the causes of the triggers of those stress and anxiety also helps. Sometimes you cannot take them off, away from you, but you can now know how to deal with it. I like the expression when you said, look at the person like a 3-year-old throwing tantrums, and you just say, oh, shame. If only they knew what they're doing, if only they knew how to handle their emotions. Already for yourself, it's a healing. You have a better understanding on how to deal with the situation. And really, I thank you for that expression there. Really, it's really helpful. So
Yeah.
we've come to the end of our show. I could not believe the time has just
It
flew by
flies
like
every
this.
time when you're having fun, eh?
Yes,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. But unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show. Maybe
Yeah.
for a minute or so or less. Any closing remarks from you, Sophie?
Oh, well, all I want to say is, you already mentioned it earlier, understand yourself, right? Accept that, something is not right, and there's nothing wrong with not being perfect. And always strive to learn instead of being quick to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Listen more, and again, you also want to listen to yourself, right? Listen more to yourself, listen more to others, and then act accordingly to what you heard and understood. Really, this has been a really great conversation. No matter where you are, you got it. Oh, sorry about that. No matter where you are, you got it, and seek as much support as you need if necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. And
Wonderful.
also medication helps, eh? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Medication helps.
it
Figile,
does.
any closing remarks
You
from
know
I'm
you?
what?
not against it.
After what Sophie has said, Nero, let's just close it on her remark and not mess it up, hey?
Do not spoil that, hey? Yeah. But thank you so much, Sophie. I hope
Yeah.
that we can also have you over next time in the future.
Absolutely.
It will be a pleasure to to talk to you more on this subject, and
Mhm.
I
maybe
would
on
love to.
other subjects as well. We don't know.
Yeah.
It could be the start of
Definitely.
a relationship here with NMP Talk Show. And thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And thanks to Sister Andy for your comment as well. Very insightful.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
everyone that listened, we really appreciate you joining our talk show. It makes us feel that we really are making a difference in people's life because you
Yes.
coming back to our show, listening, sending comments, not necessarily even sending comments, just you being there, motivates us. And we're really thankful of that. And also
Mhm.
thank you to my co-host. You know, I can't do anything without you. Hey, you're my co-driver here.
You
You're
know what?
co-pilot.
I'm the co-pilot.
You're the co-pilot. But we have a hand there. Let me see, Sister standing. Uh, can quickly unmute yourself.
Oops. No, I was saying thank you very much, Sophie. It was a very good input. Thank
Welcome.
you, Figile, and thank you, Neo. Thank you for
Thank you.
this mental health program all the time. It really encourages us and builds us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it, Sister Lee.
So this is Neo Morapedi, host of the NMP Talk Show, and with Figilon Kosi, my co-host, and this is how we signing out. Leave it, leave it, leave it.